very crooked. We are here to do part 3 of the Financial Self-Mastery Workshop. It's taken me a while to get back to this one. And so this is the introduction. We post a little bit for everybody on YouTube and the podcast. And then if you want to watch the entire thing, you can head on over to Patreon, where you have access to that at the Bringers of the Light level and above. Or you can purchase the entire collection, the Financial Self-Mastery Workshop, just as a collection by itself outside of the membership. So before we go any further, I want to wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Pleiadians. I've also got my Divine Resources team here, Archangel Ariel, Archangel Haniel, Archangel Raphael, Goddess Lakshmi, Lord Ganesh, and there's my box of Spirit Guide team members. I've got Tilia, Orange Creamsicle Faye, Ramon, a Manifestation Jen, Anor, a Manifestation, or an Elven Jen, and Hashani, a Golden Enlightenment Merfolk, Mermaid. I want to take a minute they want to talk about karma. They've been wanting to talk about karma for a long time, about how karma affects your finances. So if you've missed the first 2 parts of this series, there was 1, the introduction, and then 2, we did a very deep healing for your finances that can be done at any time. It actually can be done as a standalone outside of the course itself. So you can use it as a resource whenever you want to do like a prosperity healing. So that is in part 2. But I did bring out some decks, and I hope everybody's doing okay. It's very cold out here today. I think it's 2 degrees Fahrenheit right now, but look, it's super sunny and nice. And so it has been very cold. It's been negative temperatures and kind of like this, but at least it's been like blue skies and sunny. And then over the next 3 or 4 days, we are going to have temperatures warm back up into the t-shirt weather of 20s and 30s. Yay. That is actually good. You wouldn't think so, but after you've experienced like this kind of cold, like it's been negative 12 Fahrenheit a couple of mornings. After you experience that, when it becomes like 25 degrees, you go outside like with just barely your coat on, and you're like, it's like t-shirt weather. All right, so they have me pull in some various little resources, and I'm just trying to be comfortable where I'm sitting on my perch. Trying to be comfortable on my perch. They had me bring in my book, Shape Shift. So this is just a little book about shaman's awakening. And we're going to do an intuitive flip on that and talk about finances, how karma affects your finances. They had me bring in the Mystic Martian Oracle and the Lemurian Star Child. I could go diatribe on and on about how your karmic bank affects your finances. But I don't want us to be here for hours and hours. So let's see how they want me to focus in on that. So I'm going to use this. This is my book. Nothing's in paperback right now, but all my ebooks are free to read. So you can download a copy of this little book for free. Apple Books, Google Books, Barnes & Nobles, and my Smashwords e-publisher. Links to everything I talk about are always in the notes of my shows, everything. This says, what if you were told by angels that you had been chosen to go on a spiritual journey, a journey where you would lead and inspire others to do the same? What if you had no idea what you were doing, but you trusted anyway? That is a big part of the story. In this short story of the first in the Shaman's Awakening series, we meet Tatiana Gallegos, shaman and medicine healer of a small village. She has been chosen. Her spirit guides, angels, fairies, elves, and more will journey with her as she walks the path to her soul's awakening. She doesn't know what this means, but with love in her heart, it's the trash people. Her companions Hoot the Owl and Wart the Gnome, and her own magic, she embarks on a journey to find out. Let her experiences assist you in opening to your own true self and personal power. And as I was preparing for this, sitting down here, they showed me the infinity symbol, but more along the lines of the what goes around comes around, of the infinity symbol versus other meanings you might think for it. But let's just see where we want to focus. I'm just going to flip. I'm going to close my eyes and flip and see what the guides that are here. The right-hand side of the page. Run, he screamed. Who's screaming here? I forgot what's happening. I think it's Tatian, who's the shaman, and her guide. Run, he screamed. As they ran towards the temple, he said, oh, they're in the bog. This is the bog. Souls get trapped here and long to get out. They can only leave after completing some service to others. Oh my gosh, you can't make this up. I have the background kind of loud because my son has music on in the background in the other room, and I think it's like copyright, and I don't want the AI bots to do. They picked up something on my channel the other day, and I almost got like a copyright strike. So, okay. So it may be a little loud, but I'm trying to block out what he's got over there. This is the bog. Souls get trapped here and long to get out. They can only leave after completing some service to others. Their longing to leave is so strong that they will try to attach onto anything around them in the fog to offer up their service. You know, I remember nothing about this book. Wow. We do not need this now. Hurry, faster. We're almost there. Clutching Amrita, which is her staff, she ran faster, using the staff to beat around her and lessen the clutching grasp of what was in the unknown and unseeable. The fog was so thick now. They loved to gather around the temple, hoping to find refuge there, but that is not its purpose, he said. Tatian could see the torches at the temple getting brighter and closer, and then suddenly they broke through the fog and into the temple grounds. The place was simple in architecture, but the energy she felt coming from it was intense. What goes on in there, she said. Oh, you'll see, he said, looking around him. Now gather your composure. You'll need it. Slowly their feet touched the steps leading up to the small temple. Candlelit torches were around each step. Step by step by step, she grasped her staff tighter. Don't be nervous, they're here to help you. It just isn't easy sometimes to face your fears, but you're strong and you'll be fine, he whispered. Who is they, she asked. Your council. I'm sure you know them well, he said, as the mysterious council had instructed him to do. Oh, she did. But why then was she still so nervous? She asked herself. Page number 21, if that means anything to anyone. So the bog. Souls get trapped here and long to get out. They can only leave after completing service to others. Their longing to leave is so strong, they will try to attach onto anything around them in the fog to offer up their service. Is that the way out of negative karma? Service to others. Yeah, okay, so I do feel like after spending many, many years doing service to others is like doing service. It is doing service, but there's two ways to go about it. I think if you're trying to work on something, like in this case, coming out of like a financial downturn, which is there because by the laws of karma, what goes around comes around. And that financial downturn is there because at some point in time, either one, you caused financial trouble for yourself or somebody else, or two, there's some lessons that have to be learned around your finances. Hence this bog and the bog and the fog, and why, it's so scary. Because they talk about facing your fears here. Don't be nervous. And there's two things happening with finances, right? Either they're great and they're abundant, everything's fine, or something's happened and there's been a downturn in your finances, or the wheel of fortune has turned and maybe finances aren't looking as good as they used to. and you're concerned, like, well, what happened? You know, why is everything not like it should be? Because I thought my guide said I was always automatically, provided for. So why then are my finances seeing all these? I'm going to focus on the problem side of the finances, because when they're really good, I mean, why would you? I guess you could come to this. I guess we could come to this course and say how to make them even better. They're saying that's part 4. Is your finances are doing great. How do you make them even better? So that's going to be part 4. But right now we're focused on they're not really where you want them to be. Why is that? Because I think why is one of the first things. Like why is this happening to me? Why is that? And what can you do to get yourself out of this bog or this slump? One of them is service work. So when I say service work, I'm talking about doing something for other people. It could be one person, it could be 1,000 people. Does the number matter? No, they're saying the number doesn't matter. It's the giving from the heart without expecting anything in return that starts to balance the slate of negative karma into positive karma. Now, does it happen overnight? Not always, depending on the amount of negative karma you're trying to release. Is it just something that happened? Is it negative karma around something that happened a few days ago? That's going to be relatively easy to turn around. Is it negative karma from something maybe you did to upturn or upset someone financially in this lifetime that had bigger impacts on a person or group of people? That's going to take a little bit longer. Or is it negative karma from past lifetimes or multiple past lifetimes that you came here in this lifetime to correct? That's going to take even longer. Years, they're saying possibly even decades to turn around. So don't, only because I've been doing that. I've been working on some multiple past lives and negative karma clearing for a while now. And yeah, we're going on like decades. Because of whatever it was. And you don't always have to know what it is. And I think when we talk to our guides, because that came up in that page flip too, is like they're here to help. Part of it is asking, maybe sometimes you may not even know what to ask. And I think the first thing is inviting your guides in to help you to understand what's going on and why is this happening, and not being afraid to hear the answers, because the answers may not be things you want to hear, right? I mean, who wants to hear that? I think people that are here to clear multiple lifetimes of negative karma are kind of knowingly doing that. Is it? They're saying not always. Well, if you've been in a financial downturn for a really long time, then chances are that's what's happening to you. That's what you've been doing. And you will have been guided to do service work. So what is service work? That could be charitable giving, like giving money to charity. And chances are you will be guided to give money to a charity that the subject matter of the charity has to do with the part of the life that this negative karma is about. So feeding hungry people, or starting, I don't know, maybe you do start your own soup kitchen or some sort of that. So that could mean that in the past you caused somebody else to possibly go hungry because of bad financial decisions or something, whether it was in this lifetime or past lifetimes. And it all of this negative karma and all this stuff sits in the chakras and comes with the soul through your lifetimes for you to work on and to work with. So you tell me, I'm telling them something. Okay, so they want me to draw another card. So I'm going to draw, because I think star seeds, those of you that resonate with being a star seed, also have something important to learn here. So this is the Mystic Martian deck. I just saw 144. That's my Bringers of the Light call to action number. We got card number 10, grays. Tall, grays are tall, utilitarian, organized, and intimidating. what do we want to tell starseeds about negative karma, their finances, and the grays? Card number 10. Most agree tall grays come from Zeta Reticuli star system in the Orion constellation, though some have made suggestions they may have come from the Andromeda galaxy, which is further away. Others speculate they could be a future evolution of the human race returning here, or an alien race from the future that has traveled back in time. Talks about their appearance, that they're really tall and lanky, and yeah. Tall grays have also been associated with the abduction phenomenon and are usually described as hostile, bitter, and cold. They also largely work under alpha draconian dominance and mind control, and many are now clones. Some blamed the tall grays for the unexplained cattle mutilation phenomenon. Some tall grays are positioned in scientific MyLab genetic laboratories and secret military negotiation departments. They are telepathic, psychic, and have an intimidating presence. The tall grays operate and function in a utility hive mind, Borg-like culture where individual thought is near non-existent. So they just keep saying everything we do is part of our karma. So it's possible that some of you had past lives in other starseed civilizations where you were maybe a not so nice being. Like, we don't have, you may know that through your own past life regression or past life work on yourself, but we don't always know sometimes where the negative karma is coming from. And I think, this is one word to be like, oh my gosh, that could possibly be a lot of negative karma if you were involved in something like this that hurt other people. So what does that mean for you now? We're going to take this a little bit deeper. So I'm going to stop this introduction here. This is available for free on YouTube and the podcast. And then if you want to watch the full thing, like I said, the links to my Patreon and the links to this collection in Patreon, if you want to take a look at that, are available in the show notes. And we're going to dive deeper into what this means and what you can do about it in this lifetime right now. So I'll see you back in just a second. Hey-o, hey. So, hey, thanks for coming back, or thanks for joining me, or continuing on. If you're already on Patreon, you already have access to this whole thing. So thanks. Let's continue on and talk about, we're talking about negative karma from past lifetimes. Yeah, and I think too, a lot of people too were like, well, how bad could I have possibly been, And it's like, when you read a card like this about the grays and all of their stuff, it's like, ooh, it could have gotten really yucky and really bad. And we're here to talk about finances. So I'm not going to go into how some of these past life not so nice activities could affect your health, which is another part of, negative karma. It doesn't just affect finances, it could affect any area of your life. But since this is financial self-mastery, although we are talking about divine resources, so I think they do want me to talk about that. Because when I set up my divine resources team, I had guides coming in, not just about wealth and our finances. They're saying it's a complete picture. It's your wealth, your health, the prana around you, kind of like the energy, your own energy field, and how you're keeping your energy field, which how clean, how clear, what it's like inside your aura affects your outer world, and great karma. And they all kind of intermingle and play together. And when your karma is affected in a negative way, it affects many areas of your life. And so the primary problem could be your finances, but it could affect your health, or the other way around. The primary problem could be like negative karma around your health, which is affecting your finances. And when we say health, I think one of the big ones, and we talked about this, I think it was one of our Bringers of the Light Sunday, we talked about the not forgiving, holding on to resentment and unforgiveness, no matter when it's from, if it's this lifetime, or even it could have been something from a past lifetime where you were like, something was done to me. Maybe you had a past lifetime where you remember yourself being this person on the table that's being experimented on or whatever, and you're like, something was done to me. I'll never forgive those Greys or the Draconians or the Reptilians, you know, for doing this to me. And it's like any unforgiveness, no matter what it's about, sits in your chakras, and it mainly sits in your solar plexus, because it starts out as like anger and resentment, and you know, it becomes this ball of negative energy. And if it's not dealt with right away, I need a whiteboard. I need to, here, we'll use him. If it's not dealt with right away, let's say this is his solar plexus. If he doesn't deal with it right away by forgiving or getting over it or letting it go, then it moves to the back solar plexus and actually will start to like pooch out your solar plexus if you have like this unresolved stuff, which leads to like back pain in the mid back, problems in the mid back, things that are unresolved go here. And over time, if we can release them at any time. We can go in and we can do a deep clearing, and we can get to work on this negative karma through divine service work. But if we don't do that, if we're one of those people that's maybe not awake or whatever, the energy slowly slides down and affects the lower back and the root chakra, which is in the lower back. And that negativity, that unforgiveness, that anger, that resentment does then start to affect your finances, because your root chakra is all about your finances and your 3D world, how you manifest. You manifest. The ability to manifest lives in your root chakra. It's what gives you the willpower and the get up and go, to get moving and get things done, to get moving, to root things into the 3D world. And if there's a lot of old, dirty energy in there, it can affect your ability to manifest. A lot of people who can't seem to get up and go and get things done and don't have that drive. So maybe you've got a lot of great ideas, and you've done all your affirmations, they sound really great, and you felt them in your heart, and you feel them like in your solar plexus, like, yeah, this is great. But you can't seem to get anything off the ground. It's because there's a lot of clearing that's needed in the root chakra. So all of these things work synergistically together. And when you're working on your karma, when you're working on negative karma, it then also behooves you to do a lot of energy clearing work on your chakras, a lot of emotional clearing and healing, and prosperity clearing and healing, to really go deep down into the root chakra and clear those things out. And I think we did that. I think our part 2, we did go pretty deep, but you can't do that kind of chakra clearing just once. You have to do it like a lot. As much as you feel guided to, you should do it. I think they're not giving a like prescriptive number, because it's going to be different for everybody. But as much as your guides show you like it's time for another deep root chakra cleanse or another deep chakra cleanse, then you should heed that and get that done. Whether you get that done, I would say not a generalized YouTube video unless it's specific to that. My teacher, Master Co, has very good ones. The pranic healing community has really good ones, but other healers too. Focus on healing that's specifically about like prosperity healing your chakras, or healing negative karma in your chakras. And I'm sure you'll find many people that are doing that as well. But not just a generalized like clear your energy vibe. You know, there's a lot of those on YouTube that are just like more generalized. No, you've got to go very deep into the chakras to do that. And the best case scenario would be you had your own personal healer person that could do that along with you and show you how to do that for yourself. Is really best case scenario if you've got the budget to be able to do something like that. All right, let's see what else they want to talk about. They're saying, what is service? So service is when you do something for others really without expecting anything in return. Giving, like we said, giving to charity, monthly charitable giving. And this is another way to set yourself up for future success. If you do not already have a charitable giving practice whereby you give a portion of your income every month to charity, then that's the one that you should start right now. Typically, the amount is 10% to a charity of your choice, but I would definitely check in because it's not, it is important where you give. So for example, if you are working on your spiritual journey and your spiritual practice and your spiritual growth is important to you, then you should give to your spiritual teacher or teachers or a spiritual teaching organization, that is helping you with that. And I'm not saying, divide this up as you would, but so I do that every month. I give to my teacher's organization. I give to the Pranic Healing Center because that's where Master Co does. Because Master Co has been instrumental. The teachings of Master Choa and Master Co and the Pranic Healing, the World Pranic Healing Organization, have been instrumental in helping me in my life. So I continue to give to them every month as I'm guided to. Well, not as I'm guided to. I try to do it every month, but sometimes I am guided to do more than that. And then in addition to that, if you have your own business and you want your business to thrive, then you might want to give to somebody or an organization that is helping you. So for example, if you're an artist, you might want to give to an organization that helps artists or content creators rather than giving to some, like famine relief or something, because where you give helps you in reciprocity, right? So the more you give to somebody that's helping content creators, the more that's going to come back to you about your own content creation or your own artistic work, versus something unrelated. It's not really going to have the same kind of payoff, so to speak, because it's a two-way street. When you give, you receive. So I would say use your intuition, check in with your guides and ask. And then I did ask too. I'm like, is how much important? And they're saying, yes. I'm asking too, like, is the amount important? And they're saying, again, 10%, but some people can't do 10% of their income. And so start out with what feels comfortable for you. Sometimes it's 5%. Sometimes, I think it was Master Co said he was playing like a little experiment way back. He's been doing this healing work with the Pranic Healing Organization since the 1980s. And he was saying that he didn't believe it at first. Like, how does this work out karmically? How does giving help you through reciprocity and how does it help your finances? And it's like the more you give, the more you receive back. And slowly you start building up your positive karma. And remember, we said it's all interconnected. So when you give without expecting anything in return, that also causes a release in your solar plexus. It causes this feeling of like, oh, I gave. Somehow it releases this energy out. And then you start to feel better in your health. And now you're giving of your finances. That means in return, right, what you give out, you get back tenfold. So when you're giving in your finances this percentage, then the expectation based on spiritual law would be that would come back to you exponentially. So then you should see more finances. So slowly, and over time, your finances start improving, and maybe you don't understand why, where that's coming from or what. It's like, oh, it's this. Or if you're giving to, like I said, something to help you in your business or whatever, then slowly your business starts to improve and your negative karma starts balancing out. Every time you give, then it's considered like a positive karma tick mark, and it's slowly the negative karma starts balancing out to positive karma. And along the way, you've learned the quote unquote inner mystery schools. I don't know why they're not so much inner mystery school anymore, because they're having us share them with wider audiences. But you learn the secrets to how this thing works. How does it work on this planet? How does one thing affect another? How you learn like the deeper teachings, and thus you are then empowered to not make those same mistakes again. You know, kind of like, I don't ever want to be in that financial position again. I better start getting to work on my negative karma because that's what's causing it. I better start working on my, you know, my health. I better start clearing my energy field so that I can start to feel better. And I better start learning these lessons that Spirit's trying to teach me through this situation so that I don't ever have to be in this position again. And I think once the lesson is finally learned, then the lessons, the lessons that are coming in that are hard lessons disappear. The lesson has been learned and you can move on to something else. Let's get something from the Lemurian Star Child, which is all about, you know, we're recording this in January 2025. What else do we want people to know about this topic? Beyond cycles. This dragon. Yes. And I think what happens here, I think the message here is because I thought I saw Saturn. The Lord of Saturn is the Lord of Karma. Yeah, I think what they're trying to say here is once you've mastered these teachings, these techniques, and we're going to come back and keep adding to this self-mastery series. So we already said we had the positive karma one coming up for number 4, but once you've mastered what we've talked about here, which it seems like so simple, like, well, we've only been talking for 30 minutes or whatever. How's that going to change anything? It's like once you take notes, and maybe you have to listen to this a couple of times and start putting into practice what we've talked about and the healings and the stuff that are offered in this financial self-mastery series, the better things start becoming for you, then the easier it is for you to kind of weather any storm, that what we want to say. So that if the outer world has some weird financial downturn or whatever, ultimately you're kind of cushioned from that. Because the other part of this also would be, you know, you start to balance your negative karma, you're giving to charity, and then, you know, then more finances start coming to you. Ultimately, then you want to start some sort of like savings plan for yourself. I mean, yes, if you love your work that you do, you might want to work for a really long time. You know, people are working into their 80s now, 90s. Dick Van Dyke was still working until he turned 100 years old. So, wasn't he? Yeah. So, you know, yes, you may like your work, but do you want to have to work to have what you need in your life? No, you want to work because you love what you do, but you don't want to have to work because you financially need to. So the other part of this is then setting aside something so you can start investing your money, seeking out like maybe a financial planner, or, you know, somebody that works with finance planning or investments or whatever to help you get started on that. And maybe that is how you split up your 10%, because I was doing that too. It's like, well, I'll do 5% to my giving and maybe 5% to like a savings account or my investment account. So, you know, if you haven't learned those things now, no matter what your age, it's time to get started on that. It's time to start setting yourself up. So like this card says, beyond cycles. So another thing that's constant is change. The law of cycles is another law of how our planet works. And, you know, good times won't always be good and bad times won't always be bad. But if the outer world has some sort of weird financial down, you know, stock market, all those things, economic crises and inflations and all that, if you've already got yourself set up like this, like we've talked about in today's teaching, then you are much more cushioned from being adversely affected by anything out there that happens like that. You're doing your giving, you're doing your service work, which means you're helping others in some way, however you're guided to do it. That means you will always be taken care of. And then you're putting your little nest egg away, which is going to continue to grow. And if you invest it properly, you know, over the law of cycles, it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And at some point, you won't have to depend on, you know, you won't have to work to live, or what is it? Work to live. You'll just have what you need, and you won't have to you'll have what is it called? You guys, what am I trying to say? multiple income streams or something like that. Yeah, like multiple income streams to help you out. So that is the purpose of today. It's not so much to belittle the fact that there's negative karma, because I think we can get really down on ourselves when things aren't really going very well and be like, why is this happening to me? What's going on? And feel powerless to change it, when ultimately the power is in your hands to change it. Like I said, depending on how much negative karma there is, is it a quick turnaround? Maybe. Is it something that might take a little bit longer? Possibly. But at least you're getting started now with that knowledge of how the quote unquote energy world is working on your behalf or not working on your behalf, depending on how you're implementing some of the things that we've talked about, in addition to any other stuff, any other teachers and any other guidance you're getting out there, or what your own inner guidance system is telling you. I think the biggest message for today is just take action now on those plans and on these lessons, and see how they start working out in your favor. All right, anything else we want to talk about? Okay, they are complete, so I'm going to go ahead and end this little journey here today, and we've already got part 4 we said we'll be coming back to do, but I hope you're enjoying this series, and if you are, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel or to the podcast, or if you can. So I don't know if you can always subscribe in every podcast content place, or if you're watching this on Patreon, thank you for being a member of Patreon, whether it's now or in the future, whatever you become a member, or whenever you catch this collection, or you just purchase the collection. Thank you, thank you, thank you for helping spread the teachings so that everyone may benefit from this divine information. Thank you so much for joining me here, and we will see you all again soon. Take care.